If you've ever been told,
They'll eat when they're hungry, you're enabling the pickiness.
Just stop giving alternatives.
you're not alone. Food struggles are one of the most misunderstood parts of autism parenting. From the outside, it can look like stubbornness or preference or indulgence. But for many autistic children, eating is not about preference. It's about sensory safety. And when we mistake sensory overwhelm for pickiness, we accidentally escalate something that was never behavioral to begin with. This is the space where we talk about autism parenting, ADHD dynamics, emotional regulation, and practical nervous system-based strategies without shame, without outdated myth, and without blaming parents. And today we're unpacking a question that comes up constantly. Are children within the spectrum just picky eaters, or is something else happening? Ready? Because this is Kind Parent Collective, less perfect parent, more real one. What picky usually means. In neurotypical development, picky eating often shows up as a temporary phase. A toddler rejects vegetables. A preschooler wants the same meal repeatedly. But generally, their range of accepted foods still spans multiple textures and temperatures. Their nervous system tolerates variation, even if they complain. With autistic children, the pattern can look different. The food list may be extremely limited, texture may matter more than taste, brand consistency may feel essential. Temperature, smell, color, even the sound the food makes when chewed can determine whether it feels safe. That's not typical pickiness. That's sensory processing at work. The sensory reality of eating. Eating is one of the most sensory-heavy activities we do. It involves smell, texture, taste, temperature, visual input, sound, internal body sensations. For a child with sensory sensitivities, that's a lot of incoming information at once. Imagine if the texture of mashed potatoes felt like wet cement in your mouth, or if certain smells felt sharp and overwhelming, or if mixed textures triggered a gag reflex. Now imagine someone telling you to just take a bite. For many autistic children, food refusal is not defiance, it's protection. Their nervous system is saying, this does not feel safe, and safety always comes before flexibility. Control and predictability. There's another layer beyond sensory input, predictability. Many children on the spectrum rely on sameness to reduce anxiety. Food becomes one of the few daily experiences they can control. The same brand, the same packaging, the same plate, the same preparation. When that predictability shifts even slightly, it can trigger distress. It's not about manipulation, it's about stability. If the world already feels unpredictable and overwhelming, keeping food the same can feel regulating. And that's important to understand before we attempt to fix it. Why pressure backfires. When adults feel anxious about nutrition, we tend to increase pressure. Just try one bite. You can't leave the table until, if you don't eat this, you won't get. The intention is usually health, but pressure activates stress, and stress shuts down appetite. When the nervous system shifts into fight or flight, digestion is not the priority. Safety is. So the more intense the pressure, the more rigid the refusal can become. Not because the child is stubborn, but because their body is bracing. The difference between preference and restriction. It's important to differentiate between typical picky eating and what professionals sometimes call restricted eating patterns. Typical picky eaters might resist broccoli, but still eat carrots, peas, or corn. A child with sensory-based food restriction might accept only one brand of chicken nuggets, one type of cracker, and one specific yogurt, and reject everything else consistently. The range is narrow, the distress is real, and the rigidity isn't easily negotiated. That's when we shift from their being picky to their nervous system needs support. Nutrition anxiety is real. Let's pause here. If you're a parent worrying about protein, vitamins, growth charts, or judgment from pediatricians, that anxiety is valid. Feeding struggles are exhausting. They're emotional. They can feel isolating. But shame does not expand a child's food list. Safety does. When children feel safe around food, curiosity increases slowly over time. When they feel pressured, monitored, or forced, their list often shrinks further. Progress with autistic eating patterns is typically gradual. It's about desensitization, exposure without force, and expanding tolerance in small, sustainable ways. What actually helps? Instead of focusing on forcing bites, many families find success shifting toward exposure without demand. That might mean having new foods on the table without requiring them to eat it, allowing a child to touch, smell, or interact with a food before tasting, keeping meal times calm and predictable, reducing commentary about how much or how little they're eating, celebrating tiny expansions, even if it's just tolerating a new food on the plate. Over time, safety builds familiarity, and familiarity builds flexibility. This approach feels slower, but it preserves trust, and trust matters. When to seek support. If a child's food intake is extremely limited, causing nutritional deficiency, weight concerns, or significant distress, it's important to consult professionals who understand sensory-based feeding challenges. Not all feeding therapy is the same. Support that respects sensory processing rather than relying on compliance-based models tends to be more effective long-term. Because again, if the root is sensory, the solution must be sensory informed. Reframing the question. So are children within the spectrum picky eaters? Sometimes, but often what looks like pickiness is sensory sensitivity, anxiety, and nervous system protection. When we reframe the behavior, our response changes. Instead of, they're being difficult, it becomes,
they're trying to feel safe.
And that shift softens the entire dynamic. What your child actually needs. Your child does not need more pressure. They need predictability, reduced stress, gradual exposure, calm leadership. They need a regulated adult who understands that eating is not just nutritional, it's neurological. When we approach feeding through a nervous system lens, we stop fighting the child. We start supporting the system, and that's where sustainable progress begins. If you've been feeling judged about your child's eating habits, if you've wondered whether you caused this, if you felt stuck between concern and exhaustion, take a breath. You are not failing, and your child is not just picky. There may be sensory layers, anxiety layers, and regulation layers influencing what happens at the table. When we lead with understanding instead of force, we protect trust. And trust is the foundation of all growth. Here at Kind Parent Collective, we don't shame parents. We unpack the nervous system. Because when we understand the why, we respond differently. And when we respond differently, the whole room shifts. And if today was rough, you still did enough. Catch you on the next one.